how do we stop the monkey mind, How about the real meaning of breathing? Do they ever go to this theta brainwaves? Hi guys, I'm here with my dear friend and my teacher, Rahil. Hi. So he was my teacher during my yoga teacher training here in Bali, and I got super inspired by what he was talking about and his approach to yoga and pranayama and how it can affect our everyday life. So how long have you been practicing yoga?
I've been practicing yoga since I was a kid. So actually my mother was into yoga, and so she used to tell me to come practice with her, and so I've been practicing as a kid. But at that time I didn't really understand what I was doing. It was just sort of, my mom is saying go meditate, I'm meditating. She's saying do some breathwork. But when I really discovered it for myself was about 8 years ago.
That's still a very long time. And what about teaching? When did you start? When did you decide, okay, now I want to share it with others?
Actually for me the journey to teaching was pretty much undecided, because I never wanted to teach in the beginning, and it was something that was just an interest for me. So in university, when I started to do practice yoga, I started to go to different teachers, and when I finished university I spent a lot of time in Mysore, and throughout this period I never really wanted to teach. It was just more for, at that time I was more focused on how can I improve my practice, become better at my practice, and that was the goal. And teaching is something that just sort of happened spontaneously. So one day I was just sort of sitting at home back from Mysore, and my friends were like, why don't you teach us? So I'm like, okay, I'll do a class for you, why don't you come over tomorrow? And one thing led to the next. My family, relatives, friends, everybody wanted to learn from me. Then somebody said, hey, why don't you do a class? I go to the studio to do dance. They wanted a yoga teacher. Why don't you do some classes there? And one thing led to the next, and it just happened. So it was not in my plan.
Yeah. So the practice the people wanted you to teach. It was not really coming from you, but the universe pushed you there. Like, you got to teach. You're gonna be a teacher.
You can say it happened like that, because it was not something. I didn't get into yoga thinking I'd become a yoga teacher. I practiced it, and it happened on its own.
That's cool. That's the real thing, So I know you're interested in human mind and its patterns and behaviors. So can you please talk a little bit about your observations about the mind and how it works? What are the patterns and the stages of the mind?
So actually, the mind is a very strong topic when it comes to the yoga philosophy. So Patanjali's Yoga Sutras puts a lot of specificity on the mind and how the mind functions, what it is about. And really I think the whole philosophy of yoga is about how we can overcome suffering, and that suffering is mostly arising within our minds. So you mentioned the 5 stages of the mind. The 5 stages of the mind are going from the first stage, which is a disturbed stage of the mind, and then going to the second stage, which is a stage which is dull and sort of without passion, then going to the restless stage, and then the one-pointed focus, and finally to a well-controlled mind. So the whole idea in the stages of the mind is we are going from a stage where we are not in control of the choices we make, of the things we do in life, that something comes to us, a situation arises, some complication in our life, and then we are just simply reacting to that. And so from that stage we want to go towards having a one-pointed focus. So what Patanjali means by one-pointed focus is that if I'm focusing on a particular task or a particular thing, then my mind is not wavering in different directions. So I'm able to keep myself completely immersed in whatever it is that I'm doing. And a well-controlled mind goes slightly beyond that, where we are in our state of rest or our state of just relaxation. We can completely come into stillness. So our mind is not going from one thing to another, one plan to another, and we have come into this state of complete relaxation and stillness. So this is a practice whereby if we are in this disturbed or even restless or dull state of mind, we are also similarly, we feel those emotions and those thoughts, and it's more, you can say, we suffer more.
So how do we stop the monkey mind, What would you recommend my audience to do? Because we always have plenty of thoughts. Even when you try to sit in meditation, the mind is just analyzing everything. So what can we do to go to the stage of focus and the stage of being able to respond to the situations in our lives rather than just react to everything which we encounter?
Yeah, to overcome the monkey mind is not an easy process, and it takes a long period of time. It takes a lot of commitment and consistency over long periods of time. The whole tradition of yoga is built around overcoming this sort of monkey mind or the fluctuations of the mind. So it's about stilling the mind, whether it's breathwork, pranayama, or it's meditation, or it's asana. All of these practices are trying to bring us towards stillness. And so I would say the most important thing is commitment. Is if somebody can say, okay, I want to overcome my monkey mind, I want to become more focused, I want to have better goals and priorities in life, and that they can every single day show up for themselves and do the work, and within a few months they'll begin to see the benefits of that. So I think more importantly, it's commitment and consistency.
Okay, so what is your daily routine? Morning practice or every day? What do you do every day for yourself?
My daily routine is, at the moment I would say that it's not very regular in terms of I don't do the same practices every single day. Though when I began the practice of yoga for the first few years, I was doing my asana practice every morning, pranayama every morning, meditation every morning. So for a few years I was very regular, and now even though I would love to be regular, it's just come into a phase where I'm busy with a lot of things, and so I don't get to do all of these practices in the day. And so, but ideally for me, a day that is well spent is one where I have woken up in the morning and I have done some practice before getting to any work or anything else. So the first couple of hours of the day giving it to myself first rather than anything else or anybody else.
That's beautiful. So let's talk about breathing a little bit. I mean, breath sounds familiar. Every each of us breathe because we need to survive somehow. But the sad truth is that most of us have a very shallow breath. Is that right?
Yes.
So it only gives us the ability to exist and survive, as I said. How about the real meaning of that prana flowing through our body and to our mind? Can you please explain a little bit about pranayama and working with the breath and how it can help us and how we can still our mind with that, and maybe what sorts of practices would you recommend?
So in the yoga system, prana means life force, and so the breath is synonymous with life force. And so the ancient yogis believe that we come into life with a set number of breaths. So the quicker we breathe through these breaths, the quicker we die, and the slower we breathe through these breaths, the longer we live. And so it's really important. The whole system is about how can we lower our breath rate. So when I say breath rate, I mean the number of breaths we take per minute. So an average person takes about 16 breaths per minute. And in the yogic system, they say you are very unhealthy if you take more than 11 breaths a minute. Breathing is one of those.
Really unhealthy then.
and breathing is one of those things that we sort of take for granted because it's something, like you said, we can do either consciously or unconsciously. We don't focus on breathing the way we focus on nutrition or on exercise. Because if we get our nutrition or exercise wrong, it immediately shows on our physical body. Whereas breathing doesn't have any sort of tangible, it doesn't show on our physical body because it mainly affects our internal body, our states of mind. And so if we are breathing very shallow breaths, we are prone to getting more negative emotions, more anger, more anxiety. These emotions are more prevalent. But when we are breathing slow and longer breaths, our whole state of mind is more calm, more relaxed, more stable, you can say. And also it's a known fact that when we get ill, even if it's something as small as a flu or a fever, or if it's something chronic like diabetes or some heart problem, our breath rate goes up. So we breathe more breaths per minute. And so just by doing a little bit of breathing exercise, a little bit of pranayama, even if it's just 20 minutes a day, for those 20 minutes we are conscious and we are trying to elongate the breath. And over time, if this is done daily, then we actually change the pattern, the way that we breathe on a regular basis, which has a profound impact on our lives.
So basically, we don't see the effect of breath in us because we cannot compare it to anything. This is how we just breathe normally, just shallow, unconsciously, really. So then, if we start to practice, and then we will only notice how our lives can become different, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. And there are so many other factors related to the breath which people are unaware about. For instance, most people are not aware of what's supposed to be happening with their belly. So when we speak about breath, we are speaking about breath which is a full breath, which is diaphragmatic breath. And that means taking an inhale when the belly expands as you inhale, and as you exhale, allowing the belly to go in. So a lot of people who actually face chronic stress have an opposite pattern of breathing, where when they inhale, the belly goes in, and when they exhale, the belly goes out. And this is a reversed or paralyzed breath pattern, which actually causes a lot of issues because it puts our system into hyperdrive. It's the sympathetic nervous system is getting activated, and we are always in this flight or fight response, always in this stress mode. And so sometimes just breathing into our belly can actually have a relaxing effect on our entire nervous system.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about our brain waves and maybe meditation, how it can change our state of mind?
So nowadays there's so much of research actually that's happening with meditation and its positive impacts. Some research is going into how meditation increases our cognitive capabilities like memory, learning, attention span, all of these things. But apart from that also, like you mentioned, the brain waves, when we are in a meditative state, we are going into the alpha and the theta brainwave states. So just to briefly summarize what brainwaves are, we have four main different brainwaves, and which are the beta, which is sort of our normal daily waking distracted state of mind. And then we have the alpha, which is a super focused, that's that kind of state of mind. And then we have theta, which is the relaxed, calm, meditative state of mind. Also the theta brainwave is active when we are sleeping. So that's sort of a deep sleep state of mind. And then we have the delta, which is even smaller, or you can say it's even slower than the theta. And when we meditate regularly, in the beginning, of course, maybe we can go into alpha for a few minutes during our meditation. But as this becomes a regular practice, it becomes more and more easy for us to slip into that theta brainwave state. And actually there have been correlations between our brain waves and their effects on the endocrine system. So our endocrine system is the system of the glands, of all the different glands, the thyroid gland, the adrenals, and all of these glands are responsible for the production of hormones. And the hormones are all the chemicals that are responsible for making us feel the way that we do. And so when these brain waves, when we go more and more into the theta brainwave state, a lot of research has found that actually this has a relaxing or a steadying effect on the endocrine system, which means that somebody who is, say, having some problem with the endocrine system, for instance, there is a lack of serotonin production, and because of that they are suffering with depression or anxiety. One way to sort of deal with that or tackle that is to bring them more and more into this theta brainwave state where they can truly relax, and meditation or yoga is a great way to get into that state, which will then help to regulate over time. Of course, it doesn't happen immediately, but to regulate the endocrine system to begin to produce more serotonin on its own.
So in this fast world, for average person who doesn't really do any of those practices, doesn't practice yoga or meditation or pranayama, do they ever go to this theta brainwaves?
So there are a lot of people that struggle to go into theta brainwave, and a lot of people who struggle with insomnia, where they, for instance, have to take sleeping pills to go to sleep. And what happens when you take sleeping pills to sleep is that you're artificially sedating the body, but your brain behind that sedation is still active. So your body is not truly relaxed. So the endocrine system, things are not sort of regulating themselves, and so you're just sedated and you're in bed for 8 hours, but it's actually you're not getting many of the benefits that come with a real night of sleep. So a lot of the times we have so many issues in today's day and age where we have a lot of artificial light, our sleep cycles are all wrong, we don't get up at the same time every day, we sleep very late, wake up very late, and so also imbalances in our diet, in our exercise, all of these cause problems with the brainwaves, and many of us don't get into that theta brainwave state, which is why I think one of the primary reasons for decrease in mental health in general amongst our population.
So do you have anything else you would like to add or recommend to the audience?
So I would just like to say that any approach to well-being, whether you want to become more focused, you want to become just feel better, whatever it is, it needs a holistic approach. So it's not just that you start a practice like a meditation or a pranayama or a yoga practice and then that's all. But you also have to watch your patterns, you have to watch the way in which you have relationships with others, you have to watch the kind of work that you do, does your work fulfill you, you have to also think about your nutrition, your physical health. I think it's sort of that just by changing one thing it doesn't work, so it actually takes more effort. So you have to really rethink the way you want to live your life and how you want to make use of your life, because ultimately this is a very precious life.
Okay. So before we finish this interview, I would like to invite you for a short pranayama practice with Rahil. So what are we gonna do today?
So we're just going to do a simple technique that you can do from the comfort of your home at any moment. So it's just going to take us 2 minutes, and this is something that you can do whenever you're feeling stress, whenever you're feeling anxiety, or you just feel like you need to calm yourself down. It's a great practice. So I'm just going to invite you to come into a straight spine position. So if you're sitting on your chair, you can sort of scoot forward to try and bring your spine erect. And we're just going to close our eyes, taking a long deep inhale, letting your belly expand, and exhale, drawing the belly in. You can also have a hand on the belly if that helps you. Inhale, allowing the belly to expand, and exhale, relaxing the belly, drawing the belly in. Inhale, belly expands, and exhale, drawing the belly in. Now we're going to do the same with a breath retention. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Last 2 breaths. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2. And then just allowing your breath to return back to normal. Just trying to remain aware of any sensations, emotions, thoughts, feelings, anything that's going on right now. And just try to become aware of how you feel different from when you just began this breathwork 2 minutes ago. Is there any difference? Is there no difference? A positive difference, a negative difference? Whatever it is, just becoming aware of it. And then you can slowly begin to open your eyes. So just doing a practice like this for 2 or 3 minutes can help you come into the present moment, can help you ground yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I definitely feel a lot of calmer already. Just 2 minutes, but it's such a difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time and for meeting me today. And it was really nice to have this interview with you, and I believe my viewers will also appreciate all the knowledge and the information.
Thank you for having me so much. I enjoyed the interview.
Thank you. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you want more of this kind of interviews, please support my channel, subscribe and like this video. Thank you. Bye.